Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. I'm Derrick Pratt, Director of Education at the Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse, New York. Big year here this year. Glad to see so many people are interested in it. 2025, the Erie Canal's been open for 200 years. So today's program, we got a great one. Thanks as well to everyone who brought cookies and breads and other snacks for everyone. Thank you to Chittenango Landing for hosting us. And on today's program, we're going to be featuring 12 different sites here in central New York and also kind of statewide and learning a bit more about their sites and what they do, what is unique about each of these sites, and how each of them are planning on commemorating the upcoming bicentennial. Thanks to all of those sites as well, and we hope that everyone here can visit those places. I know a lot of you work at one or other site. Hopefully this gives you the equipment to be able to kind of direct people to the different sites in the area. And those of you viewing at home, hope you can visit these sites as well. So without further ado, we'll start off with the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor, G. Mackay, and Apple.
Okay, great. All right. So you said, hey, you told me which way I'm going.
This way.
Okay. Great.
1 second. Just gotta make sure stuff's clear.
All right. So you can go back to that first one if you want.
Oh yeah, sorry.
All right, great. I like to start with the violence. I want to thank you, Derrick, for organizing all this and Chittenango Landing for hosting. I'm Jean Mackay. I'm the Deputy Director at the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor. And it's just great to be here. I feel like this is our year, right? This is the year that you have worked hard for, we've worked hard for, and I'm excited to think it's really going to be a good year along the canal. This is our year to capture people's attention, to draw people to the canal who maybe never came before. And so I'm thrilled to hear about all the things that you are going to be doing. And some of the things that we are doing. So as an organization, if you're not familiar with the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor, we are an organization that spans the entire length of the canal. We're not the Canal Corporation, so we don't operate the canals, but we work in partnership with folks at the state level, at the local levels, at regional levels, to try to elevate the importance of the canal, make sure that our historic sites get the protection and preservation that they deserve, educate people about the value of canal and its history, try to make sure that the canal feels like it's still relevant today, and promote tourism so that a variety of people are coming and experiencing this wonderful asset that we have in New York City. So we've been preparing for the bicentennial, and one of the things that I gotta go back. Have been excited to do is getting involved in funding a lot of the events that are happening along the canal this year. I'm going to have Ashley Quimby-SImoni, who is our communications and outreach manager, tell you about the events and the event calendar, and then I'll do that. Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a call to everybody in this room because we have a brand new events calendar that is up on our website now. So if you go to eriecanalway.org/events, you'll be able to see what it looks like. We were hoping to be able to show that to you today. We don't have Wi-Fi, so there's the URL right there. So this is a brand new events calendar, and it allows users to find all of the events that are happening across the corridor. So this could be any event happening from Albany to Buffalo down to Watkins Glen, anywhere where the canal corridor spans. But the great thing about it is that we have some new functionality in the calendar. So it allows people to sort by region. It allows people to sort by date, month. So if they're planning a trip to come in a certain week, they can look at events that are happening that week. They can look at events that are happening near them or in whatever part of the state that they're planning to visit or the place that they live. So there's also a form at the top of that calendar that people can submit their own events. So it would be great to have everybody in this room think about what events you have that are upcoming, especially ones that relate to the bicentennial, and submit those to the calendar so that you can be included there. And when Jean and I are working on our communications, like our e-news or our social media for the month or for the week, we go to that calendar and we pull events that will resonate with the public. So driving people out to those events. So it's a really great tool, not just to be featured on that calendar, but also to be included in our social media and in our e-newsletters. So
All right.
that's it on events.
You want to just mention the link that funded to the event?
Oh, yes. So we had about 8, we had our grants program. And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a program that we run in partnership with the New York State Canal Corporation. And that program funds tourism, infrastructure, amenities, and events. I run the events half of that program currently, and we were able to fund 8 events that are happening in central New York. So those are already up in the calendar. So if you were awarded a grant, I know that there's a few people in this room who were, you'll already see, hi Bobby, you'll already see your event up on the calendar.
Okay.
And the next thing I want to talk about is the Canalway Challenge. So I know many people in this room have heard of the Canalway Challenge and even participated in it, but for those who haven't, the Canalway Challenge is basically a challenge for people to get out and recreate on the canal. So people can set their mileage goal. We have 15, 90, 183, 60 currently, and we also have a first mile challenge that is really geared for people with mobility challenges and for people with disabilities. But this year we have some special things that are happening for the bicentennial, and one of those is we're adding in a special 200-mile option, so people can choose to go 200 miles for 200 years of the Erie Canal. That's only going to be available in 2025, and it comes with a special sticker magnet. And this year we're also giving away a commemorative patch. So everyone who participates in the challenge and finishes is sent a finisher kit. So if you have participated before and you've gotten your postcard with your handwritten note, that came from me. So I hope to see not only everyone in this room participate in the challenge, but also to promote the challenge as well. So we really can't make the Canalway Challenge successful and get more people out on the trail without support from promotional partners. So if anyone in here is interested in becoming a promotional partner, all that means is that you get fresh content, help you promote the challenge. So we send social media posts or images and things for newsletters. We can also send banners, rack cards, trail cards that can be given out to people when they, come to your organization or come to your historic site. So anyone who's interested in that, definitely come grab me or, shoot an email to Jean or us. But the URL to sign up for the Canalway Challenge is right there.
Cool. Great. We have a February 15 challenge going on right now.
Oh,
We try to get people out in the winter time. I have a week to go. And I'm only halfway there, but I'm going to get there. So it is a really important way for us to try to activate the canal. We need boaters, but we also need cyclists. We need people to kayak. We need a lot of people to come out and see and experience the canal and understand what a great asset it is. So that's what this program is geared to do. I also want to mention that coming in June, we're going to be doing a junior ranger program. So many of you are familiar with this from the national parks. And so because we are affiliated with the National Park Service, we were able to get a grant to start a junior ranger program. What that means is that young kids will be able to come to sites like this, Erie Canal Museum, Camillus, and others along the canal, and get a booklet that has a variety of kid-friendly activities so they can learn about the canal. When they finish the activities, they hand it in and they get a badge and a certificate. They can also mail it to us and we'll provide that certificate. But I'm excited about this, especially for the bicentennial, because I think it's important to be engaging that next generation, the kids, and getting them involved. So watch for that. It'll be coming in June, and so more to come. I want to talk about World Canals Conference because I hope that many of you have heard about this, have maybe poked around and looked at the World Canals Conference website. But this is a global gathering of canal managers, canal enthusiasts, and from all over the world who are coming to Buffalo in September for a couple of days of a really dynamic conference. we are really looking at what I would say like the central question that canals around the world all have. And that is, how do we make sure that the canals we manage and that we care about are still here in the future? How do we take care of the infrastructure, make sure that they're affordable, that we preserve the history, that we make them relevant, that we have people coming here? Canals all over the world have that same central need. So this conference brings people together to share like best practices, really good ideas for people to share their common struggles. And then also to have a really good time and see the Erie Canal in this bicentennial year. So can you go back for a second? So there's kind of traditional sessions, public events will be there. There's pre and post conference tours that are happening, and great opportunities for exhibitors and sponsors. I want to also mention the America's Gateway Tour. This is a pre-conference tour that we're doing for 4 days before the conference. It's from New York City to Buffalo, so we really want to explore the impact of the Erie Canal across the entire state. Anyone can go to this, not just people who go to the conference. So if you're interested, you can go to the World Canal Conference website and see it. The Voyage of the Seneca Chief is going to take off during the conference, so we'll be there to cheer it on, and then they'll be stopping all across the state, numerous stops during September and October, and ending in October with a big splash event in New York City. I was going to show you some of the social media content and a video from our bicentennial marketing toolkit. Because we don't have Wi-Fi, we're not going to show it. But if you've signed up for the toolkit, I'm sending you this every month this year. You get new content, new videos, stuff you can use. I wish I could show you this video because many of you are in it. And it's partly a celebration of the canal and the bicentennial, but also the volunteers who've worked so hard at so many sites to make sure that they're still vibrant. So please sign up for our Erie Canalway e-news and the Bicentennial Marketing Toolkit. You can find links to all that right off our homepage. And again, add your events to the calendar so that we make sure we're connected and that we have a really vibrant year.
And follow us on social media.
Yeah. All right, Derrick. There's my 1 minute. Thank you.
6 seconds, 6 minutes, too.
Hey.
All right. Well, next up, we've got Erica Schneider from Parks and Trails, New York.
Derrick, I like that. That's helpful.
What?
The 2 minutes. The 2 minute one.
All right.
2 minutes.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Your 10 minutes of doom won't start until you start talking.
All right. Oh, I get 10 minutes.
You get 5.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Erica Schneider. I'm the Policy and Planning Manager at Parks and Trails New York. If you don't know me, and PTNY, if you are not familiar, is a statewide nonprofit that advocates for the protection, enhancement, and promotion of our statewide network of green spaces and trails. And today, specifically, I'm here to talk about the Erie Canalway Trail as one of the biggest long-distance trails in the state. PTNY works with the Canal Corporation kind of as the promotional arm for bike tourism along the trail. So we're really excited to celebrate the bicentennial along the trail this year. So I'm going to talk about a few different programs that we have going on, some bicentennial related and some just our general programs that we're hoping to make extra big this year. So given that we're a little bit farther into February than was initially intended, I will still share that the Empire State Trail Town applications are live right now through March 2nd. So this program is a technical planning and promotional support program designed to build the capacity of municipalities to better take advantage of bike tourism and the trail in your backyard. People come from all over the world, all over the country to visit this trail and ride it long distance. I know that Bobby's here with Rome, who is one of our past certified trail towns. If you represent a municipality or a group within a municipality that's interested in the program, do come talk to me, especially if you're planning on applying this season. I don't know of anyone from Central New York, but if you do want to apply, come talk to me and we can talk about it for this year or maybe for next year.
Big thing coming up this year in a couple months is Canal Clean Sweep, our annual big cleanup day of the Erie Canalway Trail. And this year, in addition to the bicentennial, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Canal Clean Sweep. And we're hoping to get 200 events. It is happening April 18th to 20th, and event registration is live. So the way that it works is a site or a group of people will volunteer to host an event. You register it on our map, and then on March 10th, that's when volunteer registration will open. So the public will be able to select an event on the map and sign up to attend that volunteer day. It is Easter weekend, so if you would prefer to host an event the following week, that's also totally fine. It doesn't have to be that specific weekend, but we do ask that it be after so we can get you trash bags and t-shirts and all of that. One of our programs that might not be so well known is the bike-friendly New York Business Certification Program. And this program through Canal Corporation helps us recognize businesses that really can accommodate and meet the needs of cyclists so that you're recognized as a business or a site, and we can promote you to the touring cyclists. We have an interactive map with all the certified businesses on our cycletheeriecanal.com website. And we include it in a brochure, or a full listing of all the businesses in a brochure that goes out in our Cycling the Erie Canal guidebook. So there's just some basic criteria and then a few specific ones. The biggest thing that you have to meet is bike parking. So if you have it, you probably meet the other criteria. And that's all. All the information is available at ptny.org/BFNY to submit the application. And of course, our biggest event as PTNY is Cycle the Erie Canal. And this is our 27th year running this tour. And of course, we're going to make it extra special for the bicentennial. So this year in central New York, we'll be there. The 15th, we'll be, in this area the 15th and 16th of July. So I know a lot of you guys in your sites have always come out to help welcome our riders. We encourage you to do so again. And something extra special this year is we're planning a 200-mile party for the 200th anniversary in central New York, probably in Syracuse at our overnight on the 15th. So details are still coming together for that, but we are looking forward to it. And thank all of you all for welcoming the riders as you always do. And there will be t-shirts this year. Finish out kind of the year, the season with a little bit of an update on our general Greenway multi-use trail advocacy. And so this year, for the first time in 15 years, we're hosting a Greenway Trails conference in Kingston, New York. It's going to be a gathering of advocates, planners, businesses, anyone that has an interest in the development and enhancement of our Greenway Trail system, of which the Erie Canalway Trail is a part. So I would encourage you to come to the conference. Consider submitting a proposal if you run a program along the trail or otherwise have done advocacy for a trail connection or something like that. We are now accepting conference session proposals for the next couple months. And if you don't want to present, we would welcome you as an attendee as well. We're trying to keep costs down and just keep it as an experience to network with other trail lovers and advocates. So that's all I have today. Obviously, Parks and Trails New York does a lot. You might be familiar with some of our other programs that aren't maybe directly relevant now. But do feel free to come talk to me at any point today, after the presentations. And if anyone requested a box of Empire State Trail maps, I have them in my car. So I will help you get them to your car because they're kind of heavy. But I'm parked right outside and we can work that out. I have my list and I think they were a little bit limited on the number of boxes they could provide. So everyone gets one, but it's a start and they're hoping to put in a new order soon. So thank you from Parks and Trails New York and happy bicentennial year.
Well,
you did. Luckily, well, I'm the next speaker. I get to eat all of Erica's extra minutes, right? No, not really. I will. Now I have to stay under 10 minutes. I talk such a big game. Anywho, yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Derrick, Director of Education at the Erie Canal Museum. I guess I already introduced myself. Yeah, so excited to tell you about the Erie Canal Museum's big plans for 2025. So if you don't know the Erie Canal Museum, we're located in downtown Syracuse, 318 Erie Boulevard. Right here, this is the historic 1850 Syracuse Waylock building. For those of you who aren't familiar with waylocks, they were stations that weighed canal boats and assessed tolls on them. I like to say we're just a kind of a pretty toll booth. But we're also the last remaining of the 7 from the state system, and to our knowledge, the last standing one in America. So it's a really unique bit of infrastructure. We've been open since 1962. Here it is today. As you can see, canal's been filled over a bit, but great place to visit. We're open 7 days a week, major holidays excluded, from 10 to 4, and admission is pay what you will. So we have a lot of exciting stuff going on. One of the highlights is our Sloan lecture series. We have speakers from across the country, even from across the continent. We have one Canadian speaker this year coming in to give different talks throughout the year. We usually have 1 to 2 a month. They are all just like this program. Hybrid events, except for a few which are only virtual, like this Hugh Ryan one was. We have really great speakers like Peter Way, the author of Common Labor, Duncan Hay. He's going to be talking about the Barge Canal. Folks from Canal Corp are talking about the current work up on the Erieville Reservoir, which I'm sure will be relevant to many of you folks. And, we're also commemorating the 200th anniversary of Lafayette visiting Central New York on the demand. So check that out. Again, this is pay what you will. And we record all of our talks. So if you can't show up to them live, you get a talk in your email box within about 24 hours. We also have a bunch of different cycling programs. Scratch this one. But we try to expand our reach outside of our walls to engage with the trail. We have our biggest cycling program, which is Beers, Bikes, and Barges. These are approximately hour-long rides along the towpath. We work with different historic organizations throughout the state to kind of set up their historic tours. And then we end at a local brewery or tap room, and one beer or other drink of your choice is included in your ticket price. They're a lot of fun. We have 8 scheduled this year from Albany to Lockport. Sorry, we couldn't get the whole song in there. But we also offer walking tours of downtown Syracuse as well on Saturdays. We have one that focuses on Erie Canal architecture in Syracuse, one on the abolition movement in the canal, and another on women's rights in the canal. They're all really interesting stuff as well. And we try to make them as accessible as possible. They cover about a quarter to half mile of downtown Syracuse, and relatively flat. Other things we're doing, our museum educate. Oh, I forgot, other cycling program. Me and my coworker Steph Adams will also be accompanying Cycle the Erie Canal across the state, giving historic stops on our bikes. So another reason to sign up for Cycle the Erie. Anywho, other things we do, if you're not into biking and stuff, there are going to be Erie Canal Museum educators all across New York State this year. I think we have 50 different talks scheduled throughout the state. At least that. Elizabeth's thrilled about it, especially next March. She's our women's expert. Anywho, yeah, and we're happy to talk at various libraries, historic organizations, etc. Just let me know. We have a whole menu of talks on a whole bunch of different canal topics. They're usually pretty popular. We are also this year conducting our bicentennial research project. So in developing a lot of these programs, we've been finding there are areas of canal history that have been overlooked at times. And, it's the 200th anniversary. We should have more scholarship on the Erie Canal. So we are hoping to encourage further canal scholarship with our bicentennial research project. We're calling on scholars. If you think you can write a scholarly paper, please consider researching something. We've recently been sponsored by the Commemorate Foundation. We are actually offering cash prizes for the top papers, and we will hopefully be able to publish them in time for the World Canals Conference as well. Or actually, no, the plan is to publish by October 26th, the anniversary of the canal's opening. We will announce the winners at World Canals Conference. So please consider that. If you know someone who might be able to do research on the canal or canal adjacent things, let them know about this. We are happy to take stuff. We're also in Syracuse going to be hosting the Seneca Chief the weekend of October 4th. We just recently learned that it's going to be in Liverpool, actually at Oneida Lake Park next to the Salt Museum. But they're going to be docked there for an entire weekend. The big thing's going to be on October 5th. Is the whole day they will be there. So hope you can join us for that. Yeah, and so how can you get involved at the Canal Museum? Well, one, visit. I didn't put that on here. But please, considering attending Erie Canal Museum events, we try to make them easy as possible to register for. If you can't figure it out, let me know. You should volunteer at the Canal Museum. We're always looking for tour guides and also people who can help out in our collections building. We have, I believe, 20,000 objects, so always need help there. Consider submitting a research paper. Become a member of the Canal Museum. We are an independent museum, so every membership helps. Spread the word about just the Erie Canal in general. It's great to see so many people here interested in the canal. If more people are interested in the canal, more people are going to come visit us and visit all of your sites as well. So, and consider booking an educator talk. That's my story. I won't ask for questions. Oh, but please subscribe to our e-newsletter. It's at the bottom of our website. There's a link that says, like, put your email address in, and you'll find out everything that's going on at the Erie Canal Museum, including things I didn't even have time to. So, next up, I believe we have our hosts here. Give it up.
Thank you, Derrick. Thanks for putting this all together. It's an awesome turnout for a snowy day, so thanks everybody for being here. I'll preface this by saying that I've been here for a month. Yesterday. So I'm relatively new, so forgive me if I'm a little clunky, but I gotta say I'm thrilled to be here. Just meeting many of you in the last month has really given me a feeling that, wow, it's a great decision to come work here. I was a junior ranger when I was 15, right, junior ranger program. So we signed up to be a junior ranger as soon as I saw that. I have pedaled the entirety of the Empire State Trail with the exception of the part from Rouse's Point down to about Schuylerville. I'm leaving that because there's no path, kind of on Route 9, not a good thing. And I left the 11 miles of Manhattan for finishing off. So Chittenango Landing Canal Boat Museum is where we are. We are part of, in terms of the geography of where we are, the old Erie Canal State Historic Park. So it stretches on either side of us. We're a little to the west of center. We're a partnership site. So the museum itself is a private, not for profit. And then we partner with the state, who actually owns the property on the other side of the feeder canal. We own the buildings, they own the property. So it's a great partnership. Our claim to fame is that we have the only remaining extant dry dock complex on the Erie Canal. Somebody could tell me how many there used to be. Tony, do you remember how many there used to be, or Derrick?
Somewhere in the 40s.
Somewhere in the 40s? Okay, so there used to be a lot of these, and of course, that's where boats would be built, but also come in for repairs, that sort of thing. So, back in the eighties, this site was all overgrown. There was, nothing here but brush. And, some local boat enthusiasts got excited when they found some artifacts and they started digging and clearing out things and found dry docks, and it sort of built and built and built. And, the power of a few dedicated people is what resulted in this wonderful place. We do programming and events, centered around the canal, of course, and including history of the time period, folk arts, and, some STEAM programming. This, picture of this, painting was done, the paintings were done by Bob Reed, who's one of our volunteers. He's in the back here. And all of these, all of these pictures around the room, are originals done by Bob. So if you want to talk about the end, he's here. And they're all historically correct. I gotta say, he did a talk for us a few weeks ago, and the research that he put into getting these to be historically accurate is incredible. Okay, I won't go through the mission too much. This is one of our buildings that is directly on the canal. So the enlarged Erie Canal is what's behind us here. And then this side faces our site over here. It was recently refurbished last year, and so now it's got a meeting space upstairs. I think Parks and Trail New York are having a meeting there later. We've got a small stage, and we're excited to be using this for programming this year. Inside, it's done up like a general store. Just a little more background. This is when the canal was opening, 1857 to 1917. I'm going through this quick because I want to talk about events. I don't know much about this yet, but we will be starting a capital campaign in 2025 to try and bring the dry dock back. They were restored once, but it's been long enough that they need some more work. So that'll be coming up. I guess that's as much of an event as anything in 5 to 10 million a year. We're going to be doing a lot of, as we do every year, a lot of field trips. We host hundreds of kids, mostly 4th grade and 7th grade. There's a program that's been created by school educators that hits all of the core requirements of their curricula. A lot of our volunteers are here today, so I hope to meet you guys, and yeah, very much looking forward to that. We have kids, learn how to repair boats, and we have an archaeology dig. We have a working blacksmith shop. One of our biggest events is the Boat, Float, and Folk Festival. That's on June 14th this year. In partnership with all of those groups. I'm not going to read them all off, but it really takes a lot of people to put this boat float on, I'm realizing. You can put your boats in anywhere from here, it's 10 miles down. I think there's 5 different spots where you can officially launch. And then everybody paddles this way. They finish at the Chittenango landing site, and we have a big party. So looking forward to that. Some other plans that are still, sort of rumbling around, more music. Talked about the Erie Canal. Bob did a talk a couple weeks ago about his painting. We have, let's see, on March 30th, we have a gentleman coming in to talk about policing on the Erie Canal. So he's done a lot of research on what it was like for policemen, I guess, on the Erie Canal. I'm still learning a little bit about what he did. Historical. Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna come either wearing or displaying a uniform from that age. He's got lots of stories about ne'er-do-wells along the canal. And we do hope to provide a Zoom link for that. So if you can't come here for that, look for a Zoom link. We should be able to share that with you. There's something else in. We definitely want to try and do the cleanup day. I'm not sure it's going to work on that weekend, but hopefully we will do that. Partnership with Chittenango Library, I want to point out, they have, it's a simple thing, but we realized we weren't part of it yet. They provide free passes to people who come into the library and check it out. It's like checking out a book, you can check out passes to the museum. So we're definitely gonna get in on that. I'm signing up for all these emails that come from all you folks out there, you know, sign up for the Junior Ranger program. I'm signing up for all this. So we'll see where that takes. We had a fun run on the first of the year, right? Which was really well attended. And like I said, our building is finished. We have plenty of meeting space. It's a central location for a lot of people to come here. So, hopefully we'll see lots more from us this year. If you have ideas for things that you'd like to do, but you don't have the site for it, let me know.
Next up, we got Lisa Martin.
Ready. Am I good right here?
I think.
Hello. So my name is Lisa. I am the director of the Liz and Dave Beebe Camillus Erie Canal Park. For those of you who are not familiar, we are just west of Syracuse in the town of Camillus. So I want to, whoops, where am I going?
Oh, you gotta press the side button.
Side.
There you go.
Okay, even get a program and they don't know what they're doing. So, okay, so just to give you an overview of where we are, I wanted to start where we are. So back in 1972, this is what our park looked like, as it did many of yours. We have both the first and second versions of the Erie Canal on the property, and you would think that that would be a huge deal, but nobody kind of knew about it. It had been abandoned. You know, obviously almost all dewatered, burnout cars everywhere. And a group of volunteers from the Audubon clubs were asked to come and start to save green space. They came to here led by Dave and Liz Beebe. They were not canal or history enthusiasts at all. They love birds. No better bird habitat than an abandoned canal. And they heard the rumor that the town might turn this into the town dump. So they went to the town and they said, no, this should be a park. And the town said, we don't need any more parks. But they convinced them. The town purchased 165 acres from the state of New York and said, great, you run it now.
Yeah.
So for 50 years, this park was run solely by volunteers. This is a shot of part of what we look like now. I am the first ever full-time paid volunteer. I will have been there 3 years in March, and they said it couldn't be done. So, but I do want to give you a shot. So everything you see here, from every blade of grass to every building, every boat, every clear trail was done by a volunteer. This is Tim's store that you can see in the foreground. That is a replica building of an actual store, Sim's store. It was down the canal about 2 miles, but an incredible feat that has now continued and will continue the next 53 years. So in that museum, we have a 2-story building, and I want you all to come, so I'm not even going to bore you with pictures. So you can see what we have there. But outside, because as many of you on the trail, according to Parks and Trail, where Eric went, we're getting an updated version, but 150,000 people walk by our museum front door. So one of the things we're doing is actually better signage interpretation of what we have outside, because although I'm there 40 hours a week and we're open year round, Saturdays 12 to 4, and then 4 days a week later through May through October, there's people coming around and they don't know what they're looking at. That's the other push for our bicentennial, is how do we incorporate these groups that maybe haven't been actively associated with it before. So we have a replica of a lock shanty, we have a stump puller, we have a blacksmith shop, and everybody on the canal needs their own mule. So this is Daisy. We have, I believe, the only watered lock demonstration outside of Canal Corp. You can see that on the right-hand side of the left-hand side of the screen, facing it. We also have, I believe, the only lock gates above ground from the second version of the Erie Canal, the first enlargement. You can see that in the background of this picture. In the foreground of that, our volunteers have made a replica of the gates so the kids can use them. And this is both obviously pictures of docents teaching children between the first week in May and the third week in June. We expect to see 2,000 fourth graders this year. That's enough. So but lots of things to see. Unique to our site, we have the only boat ride, public boat rides on the historic Erie Canal. We have 4 boats in operation. Obviously, the kids will certainly see them. We do public tours 2 days a week, and we charter the heck out of these. So you can rent one and you'll get a narrator and you'll get a pilot. We will teach you everything you need to know about our site. But coming from now a boating family, very important to get people out on the water. So it's a very important part of our park. We have a feeder, that's the Camillus feeder. They go all the way up into the village of Camillus. And a spillway, which you will see on our boat tours, which by the way, they will only allow me to charge $5 a ticket for a 45-minute boat ride. So I expect to see all the things there. So this is probably one of the most photographed signs, certainly on the boat tour routes. We are halfway. So if you notice that mileage, 175 miles to Albany, 175 miles to Buffalo. And yes, there is a duplicate sign just across DeVoe Road at the actual midpoint. So lots of people have that picture. And pertinent to today's conversation, we have the original Erie Canal on site. So we actually have 3 access points to it. Throughout our park, we will be improving our signage in those areas as well as keeping it clear. There's a little hint of an overlook, which the volunteers built mostly for kids, but you can certainly do it. And I'm not allowed to say, but there may be some activity in this particular prison here. I'm hoping. The good thing about putting this off because of the snow was I got approval during that period for a lot of the things we're going to be doing. So, not yet that though. So we are probably most famous in the canal world for the 1842 9 Mile Creek Aqueduct. 32 aqueducts on the first enlargement originally. And this picture I love, 1896, and if you look closely on the top of the aqueduct, there's a horse and buggy, probably a gentleman, we assume, an inspector that looks like winter, fall, or something, taking a look at everything. But as you all know, as this canal was abandoned for the current barge canal, things fell into disrepair. This is what it looked like in 2008. However, unique to here, and I give credit, just on the screen, there is a family farm, the Thompson family, who actively farmed and continues to farm since the 1850s. As a result, people left this alone. So this was pretty much structurally intact. So the volunteers at the Camillus Canal Society, the time of Camillus, partnered with many, many agencies, raised $2.4 million and rebuilt it. So this is the only rebuilt, rewatered, navigable aqueduct left from this system. I always say in the world, but you know, it's only one. But it still counts. And this is a big part of our boat ride. By the way, in the rebuild, they only replaced 6 stones. So some of them had to pull up from, you know, in the creek, but 6 stones, that was it. But for the bicentennial, so first of all, we are going to have a kickoff. So our opening weekend, and as I did say, we are open year round. Saturdays 12 to 4, but our big opening weekend will be May 4th. On May 5th, we'll be having a birthday party. So you can come, we're going to have cake, we'll have music, and boat rides later that day. We think it'll be a good way both to announce to the public how important this year is, but also, honestly, for our volunteers. And then this is a new program looking into, by the way, we are doing the Junior Ranger program too. So we love kids. And we're happy to do that and be part of that. But this is an untapped market for us. So, by the way, that's my dog Quincy. So, Tails on Trails, our top program. This is built on the BARK program from the National Park Service, where when you bring your dog, you make a pledge. We are going to ask that you take a picture of your dog at our park and post it on your social medias and tag us to get the word out. But each dog that participates, and we have lots of them, we're only one of 2 dog-friendly parks in the area, will get a special tag so they can tell all their friends. We had this made by a local crafter. This is a medallion featuring our aqueduct. This will be available for sale in our gift shop as a kit, but we will also be doing a contest in July. Again, draw people in, let them come into the museum, see what we're doing. And we are new to this in Chittenango. You guys are experts. Madison County, you're experts.
We are having a kayak race, our first ever. Yes, that is Father's Day. Yes, that is the day after the Chittenango race. And we asked permission because I love this collaborative effort we have. But we have partnered with a local kayak racing company. It will be a 6-mile race. And if you are a pro kayak racer or professional, definitely there are, it will involve portaging over DeVoe Road. So 2 miles of trapped canal between 2 roads, and then the pros will go over. Okay, Derrick.
Okay.
Look at that. So we have a lot more in the works, but I was excited to be able to announce some of these today. And also, since I have a captive audience and 30 seconds left, tomorrow we have our winter speaker series, Snippets and Tales, at 1 o'clock at the Camillus Fire Department. Will be David Brooks from Skohari Crossing State Park is coming in to do a talk on DeWitt's duel. I did not know that he was in the duel. If the bullet had gone the wrong way, we might not all be here today. So please come and join us for that. But thank you very much. Friend us on Facebook, or our website is the easiest way to get in touch. So thank you.
All right, that was great. All right, yeah. Put the fear of God in everyone with the, no one's hit time yet. I love it. Okay, well, thanks everyone so far. Next up, we have Canastota, Canal Town, Ross and Nancy.
I got a handout and I think it's about 25 copies. So if you're here with a partner or someone from your organization, just kind of share these if you will. I'm just going to circulate these around.
Maybe we could pass it around.
I'm going to kind of hit the highlight of what's on those sheets anyway, and you can read those at your leisure. I'm sure I'm going to screw this up. Now, it's quite obvious that I'm the oldest speaker thus far, and my predecessors came up here without any notes. They had everything memorized. I got cheat sheets, so bear with me. Good afternoon, and I am from Canastota. I'm a native of Canastota, but I taught school up north in Sandy Creek for 35 years. In fact, a former student of mine from that first class in 1969 came to Chittenango to teach a number of years ago, became a volunteer here. When I found out about that, I went to see him and I said, Kevin, I said, what was your inspiration? And he was a very enthusiastic history student of mine. And I think I was expecting him to say that I was his inspiration. And he thought for a while and he said, his wife. So I'd like to thank the Chittenango Landing Museum for hosting this event, and obviously the Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse. I'm a dues-paying member, by the way, Derrick. Frequent visitor with my grandchildren.
You get an extra 5 minutes.
All right. Be short and sweet, so I thought at the end, maybe auction off the amount of time I have left over. You know, I was looking up the beers and barges and bicycles, and, you know, it says beers, and a friend of mine said, how many beers do they serve? And I said, I'm not really sure, but you said only one. That would be to avoid the CWI, cycling while intoxicated. The handout that I've given you, it's a 3-page handout. It includes pertinent information, phone numbers and website and locations, whatever. This is a drawing of what Canal Street and Erie Canal may have looked like in the 19th century. I'm not really sure. Am I going the right way? Yeah. Yep. So, we're in the heart of central New York. And the Erie Canal, I believe, construction-wise, reached Canastota around 1818, 1819. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go through these first, because I'm afraid I'm gonna miss something. Our museum was once a bakery during the heyday of the canal. The building is still there, looks pretty much the same. We've done some repairs here and there, but the building looks pretty much the same. The buildings on either side are all gone. Fires wiped out a number of those structures. They've been replaced by buildings that somewhat look, historic. Off in the distance, it's a bridge that goes across Main Street. We had Perky Goss did a mural for us, and if you look at that mural, you can't really see beyond it very far, but it's a scene of what our canal town used to look like, looking west toward Syracuse. Just another picture of our museum. Again, once a bakery, became a private home for a while. That's what it looks like today. Inside the canal museum, we have a number of displays, exhibits. You can see to the left a little bit in the room beyond Nathan Roberts. We have a portrait of Nathan Roberts, more about him later. He was the mastermind of the 5 locks, Lockport. Our museum is kind of a hodgepodge of things. It's not only about Erie Canal history, but also about Canastota and surrounding area history. There were 2 wagon companies in Canastota at one time. In fact, on the sheet I mentioned the Watson Wagon Company. Watson wagons were the first bottom dumping wagons in this neck of the woods. In fact, the company supplied hundreds of wagons to the French during World War I. And there was another wagon company that produced children's wagons and sleds. That was the Sherwood Company. In fact, leftover lumber from the Watson wagon manufacturing plant was used to build some of the sleds and the wagons for children. This is a kind of a replica of what a canal boat may have looked like in the 1800s. Canastota has been known for cut glass, and we have an extensive display of cut glass. The plant was on the banks of the Erie Canal in the early 1900s. As I said, we have a variety of displays about Canastota history in addition to canal history. We have a room that's dedicated to our veterans. This is what our education center / archive / office building looks like. This is one of our meeting rooms in the education building. Another area where we do some archival research. This was a famous lift bridge that was in Canastota, late 1800s, early 1900s. Another view of what that hoist bridge looked like. Today we have kind of a symbolic structure that represents where that bridge was located. Where it says Ed Farr, that building is still there. This is another portrait that Perky Goss did for us. And it's kind of distorted a bit, but it shows 2 streets, Peterborough Street and Canal Street in Canastota. This is the Watson Wagon Building that I referred to earlier. This wagon is, I think, technically on loan from the Railroad Museum in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure they want it back. We bought a wagon from York Erie, Pennsylvania, a number of years ago. And it looked like a Watson wagon. It sounded like a Watson wagon, and it didn't quack like a duck. But anyway, we brought it back, and we posted some photographs. And someone out west sent back a notice, and they said, well, you have some parts on that wagon that are Watson wagon parts, but it's not a Watson wagon. So we have that in storage somewhere. And it's right near the overpass of the railroad. And Canastota has 3 nicknames. Title Town because of a couple of world champion boxers. Onion Town, which it really isn't anymore because of muck farming. And we're still Canal Town. But during the Boxing Hall of Fame parade, one of our wagons is used on display. It's an old tricycle that we have on display. This is where we put this out when the cyclists come through in July, and they can pose behind this and take a photo. Now, I want to just mention a few other things here. Some of the events that are listed on the handout that I've given you. We have a Carnegie Library in Canastota, and there are 4 presentations, there's much more detail on the sheets I handed out. We're going to host a novelist, Marilyn Higgins, from Schoharie Crossing, David Brooks, from SUNY Oneida, Dr. Mark Farrar. And the final presentation is an interview that I'm doing with the ghost of Nathan Roberts. It's captured on video. May 6th at 6 p.m. at our public library. Nathan's ghost can be seen in his house, which still stands. It was built in Canastota, 1820 to 23. He'll also be seen on the towpath across the street from the museum. He'll be seen in the museum looking at his portrait, and we're going to take him to his gravesite. The video has a surprise ending that you won't want to miss. Now, I must add that there are some people that have considered this interview as a hoax. I have 6 grandchildren. My oldest grandchildren in their 20s. When I told them about this, they said they would make every effort to be at the library to watch the video. My youngest grandchild, my 8-year-old, he looked at me and he said, "Grandpa, really?" I didn't believe me. But it's something that I hope that you can attend, and I really I'm dead serious about it. Now, just a quick summary of some of the other events. Starting on May 7th, we're going to have canal walks that will start at the library. It's going to be every Wednesday during the summer, spring and summer. July 17th, we expect over 700 bicyclists to stop in Canastota on the way from Buffalo to Albany. That was mentioned earlier. Our second annual Canalstota is scheduled for July 26th. It's a festival with canal-themed activities. Then a little later on, August 16th, we have the Italian American Fest on Canal Street. The Great Swamp Conservancy have scheduled 7 events, and they're all canal-themed, and 2 of them feature Mr. Derrick Pratt.
Wow.
Canal Town and Canastota Central Schools are planning a variety of student activities, and the ghost of Nathan Roberts, it promises to reappear during a Lenox Rural Cemetery walk that will be planned for some time in the summer. So I hope to see you all in Canastota, and I thank you very much.
All right, and our next speaker is coming to us all the way from not here. It's House with a Leaky Roof. Dan Wiles from.
Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, I got you on mute, Dan. Now you can talk. Everyone can see I was listening to the jam.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Great. Thanks everyone. I wish I was there with you all. We had a interesting morning at our house. We have some ice dams. We've got water coming in our kitchen, and you can't hear the drips, but from where I am right now, I can hear the drips just fine. But anyway, my name is Dan Wiles again. I have been the park manager at the Port Byron Old Erie Canal Heritage Park. I'm happy to say that I've gotten a sideways promotion. I won't be the park manager anymore, but that's not a bad thing. That's because we're getting bigger and we need to move things around a little bit. So the Port Byron Old Erie Canal Heritage Park is that facility you see when you're driving from Rochester to Syracuse. And it is a unique partnership between the Canal Society of New York State and the New York State Thruway. And I want to talk just a minute about the Canal Society of New York State. We were founded in the mid 1950s. And again, defining who we are is probably best done by defining what we're not. And we're not part of the Canal Corporation. We're not a state agency. We're not part of the Canal Recreation Way Commission Heritage Corridor. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit. The facility on the Thruway, the Old Erie Canal Heritage Park was opened in 1916. And because of its unique position on the thruway, our visitation is, the demographic is very diverse. For the past 2 years, we've had representation from every state in the union and between 45 and 55 countries. And so it is it has a far reach. Kind of the next slide. No, you missed one, I think.
You missed one.
I missed one. Can we go on?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. Things are all out of whack here. My apologies. So yeah, there aren't that many. Can you go forward, Derrick? Keep going. Please, keep going. Keep going.
Tell me when to stop.
Keep going.
Oh,
There. Keep going. There it is. No, back.
this. Okay.
That one. Thank you. So there's an interesting thing, and that is we have access from a federal highway, the New York State Thruway, and State Route 31. So you can't come in from Route 31 and leave out the Thruway, and vice versa. You can't come in from the Thruway and leave on Route 31. So we have to control the traffic. Anyway, we are a dog-friendly park. That's very important these days because people are traveling with their dogs a lot more than I think they were in the past. And they really appreciate the fact that we let dogs in and around the park. All our facilities are free of charge. And I will be pointing out a few different locations, but they're all under the Canal Society umbrella. Okay, next slide.
Hey.
One of our facilities in Port Byron, although not directly associated with the park, is what used to be the St. John Catholic Church. It's about a half mile east of the park. And the Canal Society of New York State, again, we were founded in the mid-50s, mid-1950s. One of the first goals of the Canal Society was to help save and preserve the Waylock building in Syracuse. But we've been collecting, the society has been collecting a massive archive over the past 65, 70 years. And that massive and important archive has really never been under the same roof at the same time. And so we were fortunate about 3 years ago, this building went up for sale, and it was kind of perfect for what we needed. And so this is the Samuel Center for Canal History, and it houses our archive. And it will be open to the public. We're trying to do a couple of days a week, maybe Mondays and Tuesdays. It will be open to the public. Also, all of our facilities in Port Byron are physically on the Empire Trail. And so we get a lot of cycle traffic and hiking traffic through our facilities. Next slide, let's see what that is. I'll be surprised. Move on. Move on.
All right.
That's a good one. So this is inside the church facility. And although it gave us room to put our archive, it also gave us impressive programming potential. Yeah, we can put 100 people in here without really squeezing. We could probably squeeze in 130, 150 maybe. So we've been able to schedule events, concerts, lectures, open the hall for community events because we like to be good neighbors and be a part of the community. And so this has been a huge upgrade for programming for the Canal Society. Let's see what the next slide is. No, that ain't it. Let's go back. Hold it. Nope. Slow down. Keep going.
These ones.
Keep going. What the heck? Keep going. All right. So again, a lot of our archive has migrated over the decades. Some of it was housed in the Onondaga Historical Association. A lot of it recently, most recently, was in the attic of the Waylock building. For those of you who don't realize, paper is very heavy, and being in the attic of the Waylock building probably wasn't the best place for it, both for the building and for the collection. But we were able to move the collection from the Waylock building to our new facility. There's about 800 boxes of archive, which is cataloged on one to some level. We're now starting to digitize, and there's a lot of good archival potential coming down the road, certainly in the bicentennial year as well. Okay, where are we going? Next slide. Obviously I'm skipping around a little bit. But we do reach out to students, not just the 7th graders and the 4th graders and the 2nd graders, but we've been able to reach out a lot to high school kids. This is a project where they built these raised flower beds and grew vegetables that would have been available in the late 1800s along the canal. And also there's a tech class that's working on a mechanical lock that hasn't functioned. It's one of our displays, but hasn't functioned. And their tech class is putting that back together. Last year, a design class from BOCES helped us design a billboard for the park. And so we're trying to engage older kids as well as the standard 4th grade, 7th grade curriculum. Next slide.
2 minutes, Dan.
Go ahead. Next slide.
Yeah.
So bicentennial wise, our biggest project is this vessel, the Lois McClure. The Lois McClure is a replica of a sailing canal barge. And this particular barge would have sailed predominantly on the Champlain Canal, which was only a 60-mile long canal. And so often you would rent a mule and then get to the lake, you'd put up the masts and sail up the rest of Lake Champlain. It was built in the early aughts, like 2005, I think might have been launched. And it ran for 15, 20 years as an exhibit, as a floating classroom. Hundreds of thousands of people visited the Lois McClure, but the Maritime Museum had a sort of a change in administration and focus, and they wanted to divest themselves of the Lois McClure. So they were looking for a group to take over. The Canal Society, fortunately or unfortunately, took on the task. Next slide. This is another part of the park. Again, I'm skipping around. We're back at the park. The Modern Visitors Center, and a part of the park that doesn't get noticed as often is the Erie Tavern. And it's about a 3-minute walk from the Visitors Center. If you're driving down the thruway, this looks like the neighbor's house from the back. So you don't really think that there's another exhibit, but there is. Next slide.
1 more minute, Dan.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going, keep going. That's it. And stop. Right there, right there. That's all. Again, we started this voyage in Lake Champlain. Last year, we were in Cayuga and then Seneca Falls. We did manage to get it out. We're hoping that in April, we will move this. It's an 88-foot replica barge, move it overland because we have 6 more miles from this location to get to our park. We want it as a permanent exhibit. So we're hoping that our bicentennial season starts with the Lois McClure moving to the park and ends with the Seneca Chief going triumphantly to New York Harbor. Next slide. This is the church with our archives, and our meeting is on an interesting piece of property because this archwork that you see is the remains of an aqueduct from the original 1825 canal, Clinton's Ditch. And that structure, there are very few structures remaining from the 1825 canal, and we happen to have one under our parking lot. So thank you for your time. I do have some brochures that my wife, my very patient and understanding wife, who I'm grateful has pinch hitted for me today, has graciously brought to you folks. Thank you very much. Sorry for the confusing presentation.
No problem, Dan, thanks. Next up, we're gonna have Tom Guiler from the United Community Mansion House. A few requests from folks on Zoom, though, that I figured I'd read off real quick. One is a reminder that the Scouts of America have an Erie Canal Historic Trails Award for youth. You don't have to be enrolled in the Scouts from age 10 to 18. And if you complete it, which includes visiting several of these museums, are requirements. You get a medal and a patch. Lisa, someone asked real quick, do you have information about that talk with David again? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, go on our Facebook page, but it is tomorrow, 1 o'clock at the Camillus Fire Department on Newport Road.
Okay, tomorrow, 1 o'clock at the Camillus Fire Department.
Free with cookies to follow.
Oh, free and cookies, sign me up. All right, but now we've got Tom.
All right, the Oneida Community Mansion House, the former home of the radical and successful utopian communities in American history that transformed into a worldwide leader in flatware production in the 20th century. They were inspired by ideas of religion and reform that were traveling across the Erie Canal, and the Oneida community settled in central New York, about 30 minutes from here, by car in 1848, and lived in a commune practicing unconventional conceptions of family, gender, and sexuality until 1880, when the community amicably dissolved and formed a joint stock silverware company. They lived sharing all things in common on a 93,000 square foot mansion house that was built in stages between 1862 and 1881. They practiced a form of group marriage called complex marriage and even raised children in community. The company, Oneida Limited, operated the mansion house from 1881 until about 1987, when the Oneida Community Mansion House was formed as a nonprofit museum and National Historic Landmark. Today we have tours 7 days a week, except for major holidays. We offer school programs for basically 4th through college age school children. We also have special tours, such as you can explore our basement and our towers, our landscape, and even historic preservation. We also are a dynamic historic site with 14 guest rooms, welcoming thousands of visitors each year from 49 states and 20 countries. We also are residents, so we have about 25 apartments for about 30 people to live at the Mansion House today. I'm really proud to say that the Mansion House has been continuously lived in since it was first built in 1862. We're also a performance space, so we have concerts anywhere from local artists like Mike Powell and Mark Nanny to national acts like Livingston Taylor. We host them in our historic big hall that's been hosting concerts and musical acts since the 1860s. We do weddings, we do corporate events, retreats, and education programs of all different kinds. We also have 250 acres of gardens, grounds, and trails, which includes a lovely ornamental garden that dates actually before the mansion house in the 1850s, as well as a virtual arboretum of trees in our north lawn. And we also have a number of trails that kind of circle the mansion house that you can take it in different seasons. We also finally have a golf course, believe it or not. The company built, it's the first, what we think is probably the first corporate or industrial golf course in the country. And it dates to about 1900 or so. So the thing you may be asking is well, we're not a traditional canal site necessarily, not on the canal, but we feel that we are a powerful manifestation of what the canal meant to upstate New York, what it meant to New York, and what it meant to the nation. We think of it as a manifestation of the power of the ideas of the canal, of the commerce of the canal, and the ways in which the people traveled and migrated into this area in the 19th and even the 20th century. But we do have many important connections to the canal, even though we're not necessarily situated right canal side. The first is is that the first community members arrived in Central New York via the canal in 1848. They were actually from Vermont, and probably took a very similar path that Lois McClure took to get here to Central New York. The Oneida community also operated a dock in Durhamville as a source of trade. They would export their many industries, such as silk thread, canned fruits and vegetables, and their biggest one, which was not silverware actually, it's actually animal traps that would go to the canal. And likewise, the community would head into Durhamville to get raw materials, such as coal and foodstuffs, in order to feed their nearly 300 members. We also were very proud to say that we're a physical testament to the power of the Erie Canal and the burned over district. It's a physical manifestation of the product of how the canal was the information superhighway of the 19th century. The swirling nature of social reform, religious revival, technological innovation, and more all comes together here at the Mansion House to see and experience what 19th century America was like and what the canal brought in terms of ideas, people, and innovation throughout the 19th century. And we still are a testament to for people that are seeking inspiration to build a better world, just as these perfectionists do. We are a part of the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor, and we host cyclists each year, hundreds of cyclists each year, people who are interested in the burned over district and others exploring the state for a variety of reasons. And it's a vital part, we believe, of the past, present, and history of the canal. We are celebrating the canal very, very much so on this anniversary year. The first one we were actually postponing. We're going to do this at a different time, but we were going to bring back Tour of the Towpath. We've actually postponed that. However, we are replacing that with one of Derrick's, I'm going to say them in the wrong order, but beer, barges, and bikes. Maybe I'm putting that in the order I prefer, but we'll be hosting one of those, so stay tuned for that. Last year, we piloted an Oneida Adventure Quest, which is a family-friendly scavenger hunt through Oneida and the Mansion House area, where you can learn about canal history, you can learn about local history, you can learn a little bit about the Mansion House itself. So that's a fun, family-friendly activity that really exposes folks to a lot of the history, but a lot of the businesses and what's going on in Oneida today. We all are planning in the fall. Derrick and I are kind of talking about this. It's a roundtable with different Erie Canal partners, using sort of Marilyn Higgins's book as a jump-off point to talk about sort of the ripple effects of the canal, not just people traveling the canal, but the ideas, the people, and the innovations that the canal ushered through this important region. And then we're looking to do something, hopefully, with the Seneca Chief that's just kind of like too cool to not do something with. Personally, I'm really stoked about it. So we're looking for partners. If anyone's interested in doing something, we can kind of work something out. We can come to you. I know Bobby and I have talked about something a little bit. We'll talk further. But finally, and most importantly, we're really looking forward to this year because we love having our cycle groups. We don't get many people for Cycle Erie because you guys are on a real tight schedule, but we do have many people that are coming through that even though we're off the beaten path a little bit, want a historic experience. This is a group from Pennsylvania that books somewhere between 5 and 7 tours a year with us that they come in mass. So I thank everyone for having us, and happy 200.
All right. I get to speak about this one next. Cheryl Longear sends her regards, but apparently it's a bit snowier out on the western side of, oops. Give you my timer, not that. That said, I know a thing or two about Montezuma, I hope. Mike Riley is also here if you have any more questions afterwards, and feel free to throw stuff at me or what have you if I get stuff wrong. But we'll get going here. About the Montezuma Heritage Park and the Old Men's, full name of it? Old Men's Heritage Center. Old Men's Heritage Center. You can tell I'm an expert on this. Town of Montezuma is located of our kind of bicentennial working group that we've got going on here. The far western end past Fort Byron. I forgot, she gave me a speech, I should just read that. Never mind, these are outlined anyway. So, yes, in the traditional lands of the Cayuga Nation. This is the former historical society of the towns of Mentz and Montezuma and the village of Fort Byron all merged into one place. You can see this mural right at the intersection of Route 31 and another road. 38. There we go. Yes. Oh, right. It's right there. Yes. But that's all to say, while I don't know all the specifics, I do know this is an excellent park. It's a huge park, a great place to visit. I first went in 2020 and was astounded by how many historic artifacts they have. 165 acres bordering on the Seneca River, and therefore the barge canal in the Montezuma and near the Montezuma Wildlife Refuge as well. They have 11 connecting nature trails and several interpreted sites. They spend a lot of time, as you can see, planning out everything there is to see. You can learn about one of my favorite canal characters, Comfort Tyler, committed some light treason, and then built a canal boat. So, cool guy. Yes, you can also see parts of the original Clinton's Ditch, as we will see in a moment as well. Montezuma was once the western terminus of the canal when it opened originally in 1820. It's also where the canal famously kind of crossed the Montezuma swamp with this elevated towpath. You can still see some remnants of that today. This is where it used to cross the Seneca River. This is a recently completed painting by Len Cantilla. Where's that on display these days?
There's some at there's one at the our center, there's one at the Canal Society has one, there's around.
Okay, yeah. They had a great presentation at in Fort Byron on this as well. So yes, you can also see where the Cayuga Seneca Canal intersected with the Erie. That's right at the head of the park next to a mural that includes my man Comfort Tyler. I should stop saying I like Comfort Tyler. They also have several remaining historic locks, or the remains of them, including the Seneca Canal lock. They cleaned up something I'm finding. A lot of our museums all started out as dumps or almost dumps. But anyway, yes, they've done a ton of work transforming their trails. Here's that junction point I was talking about. There's that mural right where this scene used to take place. They have a model canal boat.
Yeah, representation of.
Perfect.
Model.
Check out a model canal boat. They have a butterfly garden. The remains of an enlarged dry dock.
Not as nice as Chittenango.
Yes. Thank you. I didn't want to say it.
But we do have. But our aqueduct remains are better than Schneider Crossing.
Okay. David Brooks, if you're watching. Yes, they have the remains of the Richmond Aqueduct, one of the largest on the entire system. It's really stunning to look at. Yeah, and 9 remaining arches, correct?
Right.
There we go. Right, good. I know enough to be dangerous. Yes, you can see the insides of it. It's an aqueduct that operated for, I'm not a mathematician, that many years, 70-ish.
Yep.
There we go. All right. It was eventually dismantled to make way for the barge canal, but several of its arches remain.
There's 7 on one side and 3 on the other side.
There we go. Again, I'm not a mathematician. That's close to 9. 10. Yes. So yeah, it's really impressive. I highly recommend it. As you can see, you can also kayak by it. It's really one of the gems of the canal. I recommend checking it out. You know, you can have a whole aqueduct day, go to Schneider Crossing, visit Camillus, then go to Montezuma or reverse. Whichever. We've got some murals. New parking areas have been installed. There's a lot of great trailheads after the park. You can attest to that. You can see where Montezuma wheat was. Ooh, some spooky ruins.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of opportunities to volunteer. You can get in touch with Cheryl, or you can talk to Mike probably afterwards, if you're interested in volunteering, I'm sure. Chicken cookouts, everything. Look at that.
Oh, they have, go back. To the Clinton Stitch play, that's the.
Oh, yeah. I was going back to this.
Okay.
I was gonna say, you think we feature well here? Check it out. You can volunteer at Montezuma. Yes, and importantly, this year, so I know they've planned a few events, but one of the big ones is this play, Clinton's Ditch, the story of the building of the canal. It'll be playing 4 times this June. Yeah, and let's see. Did my notes from Cheryl have more detail on this? Yeah.
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. Check it out right there, oldmets.org/events. My deepest apologies to Cheryl Longyear for this presentation. Well done. But I didn't have much time to prepare. I got laughs, so that counts for something. Really check this out. I believe it's an Erie Canalway event, right? Yes, it is. So it should also be on the Erie Canalway events page that we've talked about as well. So check it out. Hope you can join them there. And if you want to find out more about the Old Men's Heritage Center, check out oldments.org or in touch with Mike or Cheryl.
Do you have one more minute?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a working group of the Camillus, which was presented, Jordan Museum, Weedsport, and our Old Ments. And we have put together, we started doing this presentation or this preparing for the bicentennial a year or so ago. And we decided on putting together a book together. And so what this does is it starts in Camillus, because we started this thing called Following the Flow, because the Erie Canal in our area flowed to the west. So from Camillus down to Montezuma, it flowed to the west. So we're following the flow, and we start in Camillus, and we end up in Montezuma, and we've used postcard pictures and everything else, and we have maps and sites to see. And so this will be, it's at the printers right now, and I'll pass it around if people want to look at it, but it's we're hoping to develop a tour off this as we go along. So Following the Flow is coming to a store near you soon, I guess, or whatever, a historic society near you soon. So.
We all contributed, but Mike brought it again. It's incredible.
I was gonna say, Mike, how can different sites acquire that to put in like their gift shop?
Well, what we're doing is we're all chipping in on it, and we're all buying our own supplies, but we can wholesale to you. So we'll be in contact.
Yeah, great. That sounds good. And shout out to the group that put that together as well. They and the Old Erie Canal Community Working Group, both their efforts kind of resulted in this event that I think is going well today. Okay, good. Everyone else agrees. Yes. So that's it. Our next presenter will be Donna Lynch, who will talk about the Chittenango Fleet Walk.
Hello. The Village of Chittenango Creek Walk Committee was established first in 2004. And our committee is all volunteers, mostly from the community. Some members are from outside of our residential area here. And we were challenged with developing a vision plan and executing that vision plan and finally getting a recreational trail built in Chittenango. So during this 2025 Erie Canal Bicentennial Celebration Year, pending receipt of required permits, Chittenango hopes to complete the last construction phase of the Village of Chittenango Creek Walk and Neighborhood Trail System. When finished, it will encompass close to 4 miles of a combination of handicap accessible stone dust trails along Chittenango Creek through the village to the historic improved Erie Canal out here and its feeder canal, and importantly, Chittenango Landing Erie Canal Museum. Along the trail, wayfinding interpretive signage help orient users to where they are and uncover the natural and cultural history of the area, giving them a better read of the area. Utilizing village streets and sidewalks, because there were some areas where we couldn't get the easements from property owners. The linear park connects to 4 residential developments and goes through a 67-acre town of Sullivan Park to the west at our western side of our village. A short walk on the trail from there finds you at Schneider Park, a very popular playground for families with young children. And they come from all over to play on that park. At the southern end, the trail connects to 2 residential developments. It travels through a 10-acre botanical park, and this is a collaborative effort between the village of Chittenango and the Chittenango Lions Club. When that property was first donated to the village, one of the major property owners, it was about a 10-acre plot parcel. They wanted the village to collaborate with some service organization in town. I think they were probably worried that the land was going to be eventually turned into a gas station or, someplace or development or something. And so the Lions Club stepped up to say that they would do that. And they decided they wanted to do a botanical park. And what they're doing, they're making an effort to restore. This was a totally overgrown area. You could hardly walk through there. All the dead trees that were falling on the ground and briar bushes and that type of thing. They wanted to restore that area to native plants and native trees. So that's what they're working on now. And also, as an interesting side to that, they're working with SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry, and they're helping that group try to bring back the American chestnut, a chestnut variety at any rate that is resistant to the virus that killed the chestnut trees here in New York State. So as a result of a community revitalization study, the book entitled Chittenango 2020, published in 2008 by Syracuse University School of Architecture's Community Design Center, it gave credibility and support for this trail project, and that really helped to get things moving. Since its inception, village administrators have supported it and made it part of the village master plan. Parks and Trails New York endorsed the project and provided financial and technical assistance through its Healthy Trails, Healthy People program. And this was a designation awarded to our community in 2008. The entire trail project has been made possible through the utilization of a small amount of property that the village already owned, but a very small amount of property. The direct purchase of a small parcel of land, donations of land and or permanent easements, budgeted funds, donated in-kind services, donated trail amenities, grants, memorial donations, and bequests from the deceased residents' estate, the support and hard work of the Chittenango Department of Public Works, because they're the ones that are building the trail. And also hundreds of volunteers over these years. This has been a 20-year project. The 2019 installation of the steel bridge outside here over the improved Erie Canal assures direct and safe connection for pedestrians and bikers between the old Erie Canal State Park, New York State Empire Trail, Chittenango Landing, Erie Canal Museum, and our community's historic business district and neighborhood connections. We are especially excited to see our mission plan soon come to fruition during this year's 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal, the canal that helped our community, first settled in 1812, grow. The mission statement that we built 20 years ago to enrich village residents and visitors' quality of life, connect the community so that it is more cohesive, increase accessibility, and provide close to home opportunities for recreation, improved health and fitness, education, and economic improvement while focusing on areas of natural beauty and historic importance. Providing now that there are no further delays, a celebration is tentatively planned to commemorate this last phase in October of this year. So watch for your invitation. We would love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
I mentioned you started this. Uh-oh.
Yes, so next we got Bobby O'Brien. From Rome Waterways and Trails Embassy Group.
At my old age.
Just so everyone knows, Donna didn't have timing because I've known her since second grade.
Oh, that's.
Okay. I could harken back and say, does everybody just want to stand? Right, take a deep breath, right, sit just for a second. No keep counting my breath.
I will take the time. Yeah.
Exactly, if it's ever baseball team. 6 feet of snow, not back the entire thing.
Yeah. Organize all the.
Anyway, I will get started. I'm Bobby O'Brien. I'm from Rome, and I'm from the Rome Waterways and Trails Advocacy Group, which is a lot to say. We call ourselves like RTAG or RWT. And we grew out of a steering committee when Parks and Trails awarded us in 2023. So, because we've had such a great day, I'm not going to go into great detail because you can read here, but you can also pick up the 3 pieces of information I have on the table in the back, which will give you an idea of who we are, what we do, why we exist, and how much fun we're having collaborating with so many people, not just Old Erie Canal Community Working Group, but with the state, with everybody. And we're just having a really, really good time. And it's so rewarding. So the steering committee that we started out with did a lot of hard work for about 9 months with great guidance coming from our friends at Parks and Trails New York. And so we're putting up manual counters, we're doing a maker space, finding where our strengths and weaknesses were along the Empire State Trail, the Erie Canalway section in Rome. They went on a little bike ride. I was so sorry, out of town at the time. These old legs don't go that far. But it was just a phenomenal experience to collaborate with so many different people within our own community, as well as stateside. So what I have is a collaboration of things going on in Rome, because we collaborate, we advocate throughout a lot of the organizations that are in Rome, and we don't have brick and mortar. We're just a bunch of us, and we meet at the library, or we codge the Chamber of Commerce to give us space to meet. The Rome Historical Society has been very, very important. So this list is also on a sheet in the back, so you can take it with you as a reminder. February 26th, Thursday evening. Next week. The Dale Wayne Star marker that was donated by the Fort Stanwix chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution. It was at a location quite a few years ago. They removed it when a lot of improvements were happening in what we call our arts district, which would be Dominic Street in Rome. It is going to be rededicated a little bit later this year, but we have a wonderful video. Anybody knows, Austin Olney has a Facebook page called New York Local History. Phenomenal. And he's done a special program just for this. Sadly, it has to be in person, but I'm sure that he will put it up on Facebook as soon as the program is over. So March 22nd, this is a very big deal for me. The Rome Historical Society is holding its annual dinner. There's information about that in the back as well. I was speaking with Shay Mahar from Canal Corporation about the event and some other stuff as well. And just offhandedly in an email, I said, if you know of anybody who would be interested, we haven't had a guest speaker in a long time. It's the Canal's birthday. Do you know someone who could come and do a speech for us? And Shane said, yes, he'd be very happy to come and do that. So I am thrilled beyond belief. So we will be having a great evening. Tickets are available on the Rome Historical Society.org's website. Eventbrite, you can purchase that way. I do happen to have 10 tickets with me if you want to purchase paper tickets. It's going to be a great night. We also give a couple of other awards, a History Maker Award and the Medal of 1777, honoring special people. This year, we're honoring, one of them will be Revere Copper, the company, for relighting the infamous Revere rider. When you come into Rome at night, you can see the horse on top of the Revere building. It had been dark for many, many years. And so they recreated it, all new copper. It's gorgeous. So they're getting one of the awards. And the other award is going to Mr. Tom Neely, veteran, and just been a phenomenal, phenomenal man within our community. So we're going to be honoring him. Now, Clean Sweep. Rome Waterways Group is adopting the available sites for Canal Corp that exist within Rome. So there's 3 sections that we will be picking up. There's a couple of others that other people have already adopted. So we're hoping that the entirety of the trail in Rome will be probably, through those 18 to 20. So we're really looking forward to that. Last year, we also did portions of the Mohawk River Trail through Rome. We are very blessed to have a triangle of trails that come into town from every direction. May 16th, everybody's going to be along the canal, right? All the way. It's going to open up. This is interesting. It's kind of canal adjacent, but it's really, really important to the history of New York. This is the Arsenal House, Commandant's headquarters. This is the building where the first shovelful for the Erie Canal was dug, like a few feet away from the front of the building. It was in disrepair for many, 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 many years. Probably 2 years ago now, 2 gentlemen from downstate, Manhattan area, and the Catskills, purchased the building and they've been restoring it. Part of it will be a private residence, but the first floor, they are going to open up from time to time for either community events, educational events. There used to be a historic marker. Look over there. We get a lot of snow and all. So it got damaged. It's been in the basement of the Historical Society long time. And now the new owners have requested to borrow it for a while, have it fixed, have it completely redone, and it's going to be rededicated because, and I think you mentioned this, Derrick, the Marquis de Lafayette is coming back to the shores of America, and he will be landing in Rome. And on June 9th, I'm not quite sure of all of the activities that will be happening, but at the Rome Historical Society, there's going to be a program during the day. There's going to be the rededication of the historic marker. And then later on in the evening, I think there's going to be some sort of a soiree. We don't have a lot of details on that yet, but they are making it. So the Arsenal House really did play a pivotal role at the very beginning of the evening. So there's this little bike thing that happens, like a couple people ride through Rome, like 700 of them. Not all at once, thankfully, but the Rome Waterways and Trails Advocacy Group said, you know what? We have to improve Rome's reputation along the trailway. It's hard to get through town. Our signage is not so great. We're working on that now, but we're sort of halfway, sort of. We have to kick it up a notch. So the city of Rome has been phenomenal. Everything that we have asked to happen They have backed us. They've provided avenues to do things. The Chamber of Commerce usually handles. The Chamber of Commerce usually handles all the logistics, so it's gonna be bigger and better than it was last year. And it already made the front page of Parks and Trails newsletter, so we're feeling pretty cool about it. Everybody enjoyed this. And we did a beer bikes bar too, which was a lot of fun. And you'd think they'd want to get off their bicycle. So this is going to be happening. It's going to be a blast. We're already planning. I think we've had like 4 meetings already about this. This was our little pamphlet that you could pick up. We had the all of the events that were happening, places to go, things to do. The 26th, we've got the concert and the fireworks that are happening every year. We do Honor America Day, is what they're known as. And then August 2nd, Rome Rotary has Canal Fest. It used to be 2 days, it's 1 day now, but we are right down there on Bellamy Harbor, right on the barge pool. And so here is the big. It didn't work.
No, sorry.
This is supposed to float from. Oh. Anyway, so, and of course, it floats downward. And my son said to me when he was looking at it, he goes, Mom, it looks like it's sinking. I said, please don't say those words that loud. It's going from west to east and it's kind of southward on its trip. So anyway, lots of things are being planned for that event, and that is a very big deal. And finally, I don't do AI stuff because I've worked in the cyber world and I know better than to do that. So I just put in a couple of parameters about bicyclists along the canal. Just a pretty picture, kind of serene. And so these folks, I don't know how they're maintaining it, but they're about to get their heads. So, anyway, here's my contact information, also in the back as well. I thank you very much for your time.
Oh, we even got a PSA at the end of that. All right. Well, next up, we've got our last presenter of the day, Jamie Kowalczyk with Madison County Planning and the Old Erie Canal Community Working Group. I was just getting up here. I wanted to recognize a few other folks in our working group who weren't able to make it. There's the Jordan Historical Society. Weedsport, yep. Old Brutus Historic Society. Anyone else I'm missing? Matilda Jocelyn Gage Foundation out in Fayetteville. There's a lot of other historic sites along throughout the state that we encourage you to check out as well. But now I'll let Jamie talk.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Jamie Kowalczyk, and I actually work for the Madison County Planning Department, so a little bit different than all the groups here. But what we started in end of 2015, 2014 was something called the Old Erie Canal Community Working Group. And the whole purpose of this group is to collaborate and work together, really specifically on the 36-mile stretch of the Old Erie Canal in central New York. That is the state park that runs from DeWitt through this site out to Rome. But as we learned in 2013 when we first started this group, we really are stronger by working together. And so it's just been a pleasure being part of this bicentennial group. And certainly our reach is much further than just that 36 miles, but that's really like the heart of where things started. And it's just a testament to the power of collaboration, really, this group, the amount of accomplishments that we've seen in the 10 years, the restoration of the Chittenango Feeder sluice gate, cohesive wayfinding signs through the 36 miles. One thing that we're really proud of that I hope you all pick up, a waterproof paddle guide for the Old Erie Canal. And just much more than that. We've, worked with the boat museum and their blacksmiths to create bike racks for the communities, Chittenango, Oneida, Canastota. So all about trying to lift up everyone together and make more of a cohesive element to all of this that we're working on. And I think that, you know, so this kind of shows the map of the corridor, and it kind of shows all the communities that we weave through, and you're hearing about all the things that all of us are working on, and it's just incredible. Something that is very unique to our stretch of the canal is that it's also a New York State park. So, you know, we get to be part of Canal Corporation and we get to be part of New York State parks. Something for context that I think is so important when thinking about our area in central New York, which many of you are aware of, but just to, you know, provide some background. In the different iterations of the canal, you know, because of how successful it was and how technologies changed and engineering changed, you know, in central New York, we're kind of unique that the barge canal departed from the historic canal. You'll see that so much more, you know, distinctive in central New York than other places. And so because of that, you know, that's one of our strengths. That's also maybe one of our challenges. But we get both. We have the barge canal and we have the historic canal in central New York. And, you know, I think the other thing that the Old Erie Canal Working Group has really been able to do is reconnect us to the resource itself. You know, so the canal itself, the waterway itself, you know, we can do all these wonderful things and have all these wonderful events and maintain the museums and the communities along it. But there's real importance for preserving and maintaining the waterway itself, which is, you know, is the asset. And so the Old Erie Canal Working Group, one thing that we really prioritize is studying this waterway, re-educating about this waterway. And this map, you know, shows central New York. The purple line is the Old Erie Canal waterway. So this is 30 miles of it. This is City of Syracuse, this is DeWitt. There were 3 feeders that came off Butternut Creek, Limestone Creek, and Chittenango Creek that helped feed this system. There was one in Oneida that got filled in. And you'll see that it connects right into the barge canal. Originally, the old canal was designed to feed water to the barge canal when it was built. So rediscovering the system and how this waterway works has been really important, a baseline effort to everything that has spun off from it. And this study is available on our website, tourofthetowpath.com. Like again, we engaged with the USGS to do it. And it really gave us a strong understanding for the infrastructure that's in place, including these feeders. This is the restored sluicegate that I mentioned that was done at the end of 2023 in partnership with the Canal Corporation. You know, we now better understand that we have 2 natural inflow points into this system. And people have mentioned the uniqueness of the aqueducts and how few there were. Within this 36-mile state park, we have 5 aqueducts, which in addition to being historic features and truly like beautiful iconic destinations when you're out on the trail or the waterway, they're also part of the working waterway. They're outfall points for this system. So understanding how better to manage that to keep the water maintained, the flow, the aesthetics of all of that is the backbone to what we're doing. And I mentioned, it's just so interesting to see where the enlarged Erie connects into the barge canal. And this is the Empire State Trail in that location. And this is kind of what it looks like from the waterway. You know, in addition to the canal structures, there's also 34 bridges that go over this canal from DeWitt to Rome. And we're fortunate that after all this time, there was very few obstructions to the waterway. And one was at Route 31 along Route 46, but we were able to partner with DOT and they had a roadway project. And now instead of these cylinder culvert, this is the canal. Before, if you were paddling, obviously you would get stuck here and need a portage. But through collaborative efforts, we're able to restore so there are no obstructions in the waterway. But just again, the importance of, you can see how over time, you know, if a roadway gets redone or out towards Verona, there's a lot of old bridges, you know, working together to make sure that the canal is maintained for the future. And so, you know, one of the things that we're most proud of is the work that we've done on the Blue Way Trail. And that's really what we really want to focus on for the bicentennial as well. So this paddle guide, it's waterproof. It has a great map, shows you where you can launch from. It explains some of the things that you can see along the way. We've been really fortunate to install an ADA kayak launch at the Pools Brook node of the town of Manlius through a partnership with them and state parks and funding from Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor. And we're working on installing the second launch here at the Boat Museum. The launch is actually here on site now and hopefully will be installed this spring. So again, you know, for the bicentennial, our focus really is on this paddling event, the Old Erie Canal Boat Float and Boat happening on Saturday, June 14th. It's got something for everyone, not just for paddling, but it is a wonderful opportunity for paddling because it's calm and it's flat. And in addition to like lending itself for all ages and experience levels because of that, you know, I might be biased, but it's also a very interesting place to paddle. You know, unlike a lake or, you know, you get out and it's just wide and you paddle around for a bit. This offers, you know, you weave through history, you weave through wide waters, you get to float through aqueducts, you get to float over sunken canal boats. Like there are destinations to see as you go. This is an old railroad abutment. So there's, I can't stress that point enough. I think even from people who are very familiar with the Erie Canal from the trail might stand on it and say, I don't see how you can paddle that or paddle under that. But you get out there and it's just a whole new perspective of this resource. And so at the boat float, we've done the event for several years now, and we have people come kayaks and paddle boards, canoes, people bring their kids, they bring their dogs. It's really available for everyone. And as Peg had mentioned, there are different launch points during the day, so you can really pick the distance that suits you. And everybody ends here for a great drone photo. It's so colorful. And then another best part of it is that you get to be on the Boat Museum property for a wonderful festival that they've really done a great job of connecting with local artisans to kind of capture a piece of history. There's music, there's food trucks, and this year is going to be extra special for the bicentennial. So I just want to, you know, emphasize that we hope to see you here on June 14th. And if anybody has any questions or any more information that they know about the Old Erie, we're always all ears here. So thank you.
Well, that was it. Thanks everyone for coming out again. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. I think folks are going to be around to ask